I'm here to represent the corporate view here. So we also need to innovate, and we also need to collaborate with different partners together to innovate in order to make things work. So, sorry, just 1 second. All right. So I was actually just in a different event the other day, and someone just came and asked me, so you work for Kona, what else do you do besides moving things up and down, moving people up and down? But we actually move 2 billion people on our equipment every day. 2 billion. So this is a quarter of the world population we're moving today on an everyday basis. So there's a lot we can innovate. Of course, we innovate close to our core about our elevators and escalators, but we also innovate in many different aspects. So today I'm going to make it very concrete. I will just give you some examples about what we innovate and the partners we will be seeking. Let me start by one example about what we're doing. So talking about we are an elevator company. What can we do in overall on the building optimization and creating more energy efficiency? So 40% of the emissions today are in the built environment. So we are contributing with all the buildings about 40% of emissions. Elevators are only about 4% of that. And there are a lot more of emissions and energy that is consuming elsewhere. So how can we, in this 4%, make a difference on the 70%? And this is one thing we have been innovating on. We have the data from our elevators, and we use AI to make algorithm out of that so that we can actually provide an occupancy view of the building across different floors, across the time of the day. And by that, we were able to significantly reduce the HVAC consumptions in the building. So the 70% of what was showed before. And we did that starting with a startup called R8, and they are located in Estonia. And we have started different pilots with them. So this is the first pilot we did with them in Estonia. We also did further pilots and a lot more buildings with them and with other startups like Smart Spaces in the UK. So in this case, we're looking at also startups to go with us to go to market. We provide the data, and we're looking for building management service providers in this field to go to market together with us. The second example we have here is on generative AI. How can we make our employees work easier with Gen AI? We have 40,000 technicians making more than 100,000 visits every day. And they meet many different issues, but of course it's difficult for them to always know what's going on. Nowadays, they keep calling the help desk in order to get that. And what we have done is, let me see whether this demo works. Okay, great. So what we have done is that we actually built an AI assistant to those technicians so that they can ask questions to this assistant to know what are the fault codes, what has been done to the equipment before, and also then ask questions about whether there are things that they can help, or what is the problem? Is that a bit because of the door? What is the fault code? And how can you help to solve this problem with us? And we have now already more than 5,000 technicians using these tools. And we have started this journey about 2 years ago on learning how Gen AI work. And I think the best quotation or feedback we got is it felt like we developed this tool together. So the technicians felt that they developed the tool themselves. So this is something that we were very, very, very happy to hear and learn. And of course, we're doing a lot more on Gen AI. We need a lot more applications, and we don't intend to build everything ourselves. So we also are acting as a venture client in this field. So we're looking for startups who will be interested to contribute in this field, whether it's closer to our core with more multimodal situations that we can work on engineer and design, or it is more broadly speaking, with more plug-and-play solutions on the text-based, on the on general business process, and this is across a wide range of our functions. So in both cases, we're actually very actively looking for startups, and we're looking for them to provide a solution to us, and we will be the venture client in this case. And third example is actually something we did slightly outside of our core business. So, of course, we are in metro stations. We have our equipments in those metro stations, but we are also looking at what are the issues we can solve for this customer. And in this case, it's more about overcrowd and the risk associated to that. And this is one example that we have now ongoing project work in Brussels. And if you will see that this is overview of the Brussels metro station. Have this LiDAR-based digital twin solution that would give you an overview of where things are, how people are moving in a station, whether the train is coming, whether a congestion is detected, and how you can actually go and right away resolve this congestion. And also, in case there is an issue with equipment, then you can right away identify which equipment is having problem. And there we actually, like startups, are also looking for investment to go further on this, so that we actually also wanted to give that a scaling that is a bit outside our company. And last but not least, and actually this is the part that I'm also very proud to share, that we have just received funding from Business Finland for building up an ecosystem called Renaissance. And there we are looking for how can we transform from today's high consumption living to a low carbon, high quality living for every one of us living here. And there we're looking for building up a complete ecosystem. So we want to revive the buildings, and what we will be focusing on is we'll be focusing on 4 main areas, from AI and data-driven operations, to with that basis to see how we can decarbonize, how can we adapt the buildings, and how can we operate the buildings better. And there we are also looking for 120 ecosystem partners, 16 co-innovation projects, with additional funding from Business Finland also to our partners, and of course also EU level of applications. And there we're looking for partners in startup with academias, but also medium-sized companies and other large corporations, and as well as our customers. So if you are interested to learn more about what we wanted to do with Renaissance ecosystem, we actually have a workshop starting right after this speech. So also the team downstairs. So you will hear from the team how this works. And this is also just to give you an example that we have already some information, and you can see that this is also a crowd of different partners, from tech startups to universities to all the different players in the building management, real estate, construction, and all the different parts. So that's all of my presentation. Our vision at Kona is, our purpose is to shape the future of cities. And I hope my presentation will share that we cannot do it alone, and we hope you have more people joining us to make that happen. Thank you very much.